Alright, well, thank you guys for being here. I am Tom Crown, and this is January 16th, Thursday, 2020. And we've had a pretty interesting 2020 so far, if we take a look here. Looks like we potentially bottomed out for the year. Certainly no guarantees here, but on the third, hitting about 68.50, and after that we've really created this parabolic upward channel, and so far have very much respected it. As long as we stay above the bottom of this channel here, and you can see it, we have little wicks out here. I could adjust the channel, but I really like where it's at, so I don't want to adjust it. So little wicks out of here may be okay on the way up. Anything significant, probably not a great sign. Something I'm seeing that I definitely like and is definitely different versus the last few rallies we've seen, like October's rally, rallies that we've seen recently. I guess October's the last one I can name off the top of my head. The difference would be that people are very skeptical. There's a good amount of distrust, and that logically makes sense. Why wouldn't you distrust this? We've seen so many failed attempts at rallies. October, I suppose even in August, I guess there's probably a good amount of excitement here. But both of these, and probably in July too, even though that was the time to start shorting, people were not doubting these rallies. We were very excited and pumped and euphoric maybe. And now we're seeing this slower, in my opinion, much stronger building of a rally, and not exactly resulting in too much confidence. And for me, that is a good sign. That is a big difference between the previous rallies we've seen. Some great little observations I can just make while looking at the daily here is we have broken and back tested the 50 daily. We broke and back tested the 100 daily, and we also did the same with the 100 weekly. And so we're seeing what we have not seen. Actually, it's the exact opposite of what we've seen for many months now. I guess this weekly 50, I'll pull them up on here. This is strength. We really have not seen any of this. Pretty much the opposite. In the last 6 months, we've seen these big MAs get smashed and then just wicked and sold off just immediately back underneath them. Here we go. What was that? 1200. 25. Okay. We don't have the weekly on here though. Nope. Okay. Good enough. So we see we broke the 50 daily, back tested it, held a support, continued running. That's a great sign. Really, the 50 daily was a huge obstacle for us for a long time. You can see we broke above it here in October, but then it really failed to hold any support. It just crumbled. That was such a euphoric run. It was awesome. Those days will come back. I'm excited for them. Those are my favorite times. But we really have seen this 50 daily as an obstacle. You can see many, many times just testing it on the upside has resulted in sell-offs. It really struggled pretty much all the way back since we broke here back in July-ish. I gotta turn some of these off so I don't get confused. Here we go. Really, it had not held support. You just see price jumping up and down through, and right around here is when the 50 daily became very strong. It's very strong resistance. Okay, I don't need this. There we go. That was throwing me off. So the yellow here is the 50 daily. You just see price continuously rejecting the 50 daily as resistance, eventually leading to a really large sell-off. Falling below the 200. On the death cross on the 25th, we saw a crazy rally, and then just failed to hold a support. You see we touch it over and over and over again. You know, this price action is very bearish. That was very unexpected, but that's Bitcoin. Pretty much have to expect the unexpected. We had a few failed attempts to even reach there, but now we've seen for the first time it really held support. Not a huge amount of volume there, strangely. I guess see some volume here on the upside off of it, and so that itself wouldn't be that amazing to me. But what is amazing is that we really just kept stair-stepping. We had the 50 hold, and then a little bit above it, so I guess this right here is probably that wick. You won't be able to see that. It's a weekly. But then we saw the 50 weekly hold as well, just a little farther up with this pullback on the rally here. That would have been right about here. Rejected. And then so the 100 daily was above it. That was our next target. You know, this was definitely not the best feeling here when we rallied and sold off, bled off like that again. But really what it was doing in hindsight was testing the bottom of this channel again. We saw it shoot back up, still low volume, so that's not ideal, but we're seeing this like stepping, these breaking moving averages, pulling back, testing them as support, moving up, pulling back, testing them as support. And what we're establishing here is potentially upward parabolic channel that is good until it's broken. That's why I've kind of been laughing at people the last few days. Yes, this local price action here is not ideal. You know, this looks ugly. It's a rounded top. It would not surprise me for it to pull back and again test this channel. But really, while it's above here, I wish I could make that its own color. But really, while it's above this channel, guys, there is very little to worry about. It could follow this. You know, being Bitcoin, it's likely not going to follow this perfectly. It may continue, if we're actually in a rally now, like a bull trend, it may continue to bounce off of it and then perhaps make a new channel above it and start doing the same thing. That would be very typical for bullish, you know, like a mid to long-term bull run. So that's the biggest thing I wanted to point out to you guys today. I've been typing it, but I don't know if it really translates as well when you type it. So basically, I highlighted a blue here actually for my girlfriend because she was like, "How's it doing?" And I was like, "It's just kind of been doing nothing a few days." And she was like, "Oh, I thought it had been going up." And I was like, "It still is." So I highlighted this for her to show her that like this is the channel I was looking at. Even if it just trends up you know, this won't happen, but even if it were to just come into this channel and trend up very slowly and not be very volatile, like that's the least likely scenario, it is still moving parabolically up. So I think what people don't understand about that is a parabola is just a line that is increasing, not linearly, but exponentially. And so I know what you're thinking is, wait, that's a line, you know, that's a linear path, and that's true. The thing that makes this parabolic, this linear line, is actually the scale. If you look over here at the scale, This is logarithmic. So that means every move up or move down, if they're the same distance, it's still actually, so like if, you can't see my fingers, but so if it's like an inch up or an inch down, if you repeat that, it's actually a larger move because the scale is exponential, logarithmic. So a straight line on a logarithmic chart is parabolic. You'll see that this goes up pretty quickly. You know, I don't necessarily think it's going to follow this line like all the way up here. That would be just way too nice. But you can see it increases very fast. You know, this is already up at 12K, likely by the end of this month, early next month. That's not my price prediction, but just to show you that this is a parabolic line. It can do whatever really the hell it wants in here. Grab my brush. It could do something like this, you know, whatever. That would all be parabolic, even though it doesn't feel like it. Because it may be moving up in a linear line, but the scale is logarithmic. If you were to draw a similar line, but the scale was set to regular, then it would be a linear increase. Logarithmic and linear are different, and you'll see how these lines distort now. I switched it to regular. You'll see that these lines are distorted. They're actually bent a little bit. It's hard to see this zoomed in. But that's because they were created on logarithmic. So yeah. Short term, not surprising to me if we at least come down to the top of this channel. We did have like a pretty convincing back test of this channel, but it broke down to the middle. So that wouldn't surprise me. Ending up right, you know, even right here would be the top of this, of the previous rally. Usually rallies, you know, very commonly rallies want to come back and test maybe this flat area on this previous rally, which lines up pretty well with this curve here. It actually would have to drop out a little bit to get really back. I would expect about here would be a normal pullback. But we've really, if you look at it this way, this channel, man, it's pretty easy trading. It's very visual. It's very laid out in front of you. As long as it's in here or above it, it's moving up. You know, it's parabolically moving up. It can do anything it wants. It could touch the top of here and come right back down to the bottom in one candle, and that's still parabolically moving up, as long as it doesn't actually invalidate this channel. So this is as strong as Bitcoin's looked in months. Absolutely months. It is hard to downplay that. This movement looks very little, in my opinion, like anything else that we've seen recently. Let's see this on the daily. Actually, let's go over here on the weekly. We had the weekly bullish cross back in December. We also saw our lowest low directly after. And really after that lowest low, the weekly has been looking pretty good. The new year seems to have kicked something off, and it is feeling spicy. It's feeling real spicy. Where's that trend line? Inputs 5. There we go. So right here, this is the 20K to 14K trend line. I got all goofy. And this is going to be the most important. People are going to say, I mean, until we're above here, people are going to say we're still in the downward channel, we're still in the bearish channel. Sure. Yeah, but you can also say we're still in a bearish channel or downtrend until we break 20K. And is 20K a good spot to buy when it breaks? Probably. But personally, I'm not gonna wait years and years and years, you know, to miss out on this like 140%, more than that. This 500%. You know, this might be safe to buy a breakout here. Certainly nothing's guaranteed, but historically in Bitcoin, that would be a safe place to go long. But by then you've already given up 500 something percent. You know, that is a crazy percent, and I don't think it's a bad idea if you're not a very risk tolerant person, that might be the play for you. That is not my play, man. I'd rather wait. So you can see this really sloppily drawn inverse head and shoulders I have here. This is what I've been watching, and this is actually a big fractal of what we saw in here, which is really a similar 3 triangle lowest point in the middle with a pretty higher high on the right triangle shoulder. So that's what I'm looking for. So I wouldn't take these triangles really like where they're at as, you know, price points. Basically what I'm thinking is, you know, this rally that we're in is going to pull back at some point, and it's going to draw the right shoulder of this. Whether that's up here, bouncing off this trend, or whether it's even before, we could see it here, do the same thing. Really looking for this same shape. This is a very strong reversal pattern shape. It's the head and shoulders upside down. How was I gotten onto this? So I got into this by the downward trend. So people are saying, are we still in the trend? Do we break the trend or not? Well, it's a good question, but the answer is, what do you consider the bearish trend? You could consider this very top line, like I said, the bearish trend. That's about 12,000. Above 12,000, I think bulls are really going to start feeling comfortable. This is going to be a very dangerous spot to short once it's broken. Maybe a very strong point to short once we get there. Something like this could be totally possible. You know, we could do this kind of thing. That could be where the other shoulder paints. I'm just gonna mess with this. Something funky like this, totally possible. But once this line is broken, there will be no argument in my mind. I mean, a new trend line will then emerge from wherever that stops from 20. But this is the final line, really, that we have calculatable right now. And have we broken the bearish trend? So this was my main trend line that I had drawn. You can even see back here, I made this originally back in July of 19, and it held very, very true. The 25th of October was like the really time we closed over it in a green candle significantly, and then immediately sold off. But then around the end of December, we broke out of it, and we actually pulled a similar fake out to the 25th. Broke that trend line, sold off. We broke that trend line and then sold off, but bulls were able to recover here. There was a lot of moving averages here that we broke that I talked about a little bit ago. And since then, we've seen, in my opinion, that's the original bearish trend line broken. Kind of secondary trend line was broken last week. And this week, which is still not over, 3 more days, you can see we really wicked like directly off the top of this one. So this is very bullish. This is great. I would like to see this weekly candle close above that. That would be very much a sign to me that price wants to go to 12. Break above here, probably wants to come here. Another reason I'd like to see this weekly get larger is I would like it to be larger than the candle before it. I don't want bulls to be losing momentum already. So that was about a 10%-ish candle. 10%-ish would put us right at 9. We're seeing a lot, I mean, just a metric ton of things aligning at 9K. Like, essentially, this trend line right here is the same one I was just looking at, is this one. These are the same. There might just be a little error in placement here. This is also a smaller time frame, so it's more precise. So we may have just missed it, or we may have actually hit it. I have this. I put a magnet up at 9K here. It's not on the weekly for whatever reason. Let's see what visibility. I don't know where it went, but anyway, I put it up here because I have pretty strong confidence that, you know, we broke the 50, broke the 100, back tested both of them. I said this on the way down, I'll say it on the way up. Break 50, break 100, the next logical thing is we want to go up to the 200. 200 is right here, currently at 90, 70-ish, and right where this trend line is, right at this 9,000. In my opinion, like I was saying, pretty much the last trend line before the Uber 12K one. I will say that I said this actually before we even started doing this kind of curvature down, that if we were to move directly up here, you know, on this rally, if we would have gone on the 14th all the way up to here, that I think it would, with very high confidence, get rejected. It does not seem that that's happening. And I said it's likely better if we pull back before reaching it to then test it. You know, that will give RSI, oscillators, indicators much more visual strength to see that pullback before. As long as, I would say, really as long as 760, 770 holds, I really wouldn't want to see the 100 break actually. So let's say 7950. As long as it stays above there, I think that it absolutely will want to test this. I don't believe it's going to go down that far. I think the most likely really is, you know, somewhere around here, 8.5. Let's say 8.5 and then test 9. No guarantees it will break. You know, we could test this 200 and get really rejected, and that's most likely then going to be a rejection there. For me, really coincides with that original Head and Shoulders, this thing I was drawing earlier. Now this testing that 9, as long as I want to stay above, stay above the 7.7 here, so we can create this cup and complete it. The neckline would be, or I guess the point to validate this giant inverse Head and Shoulders would be about 10.6, where October 25th rallied to. And it makes sense, you know, we get there and we're very close to this trend line already. So that would likely give it enough momentum to keep going. And just because this is a curving top here does not necessarily mean it is actually going to go down. On the way up, there's always going to be very weird, like this right here. Let's see, from the 6th to the 10th. Like, this is a Head and Shoulders. That is like a Head and Shoulders that didn't go anywhere. You know, we are going to keep seeing things like this if we're going to continue up. The path up is not going to be obvious, just like the path down wasn't obvious, you know? We had giant fake outs like on the 25th, and that, I don't like to use the word intentional, but maybe the word painted. When it's going up, it wants to convince you it's going down. And when it's going down, it wants to convince you it's going up. That's just how the market works in Bitcoin, at least. You know, it wants to put you on the wrong side of the trade. So my advice, I guess, for the next few days is let's watch this trend. Let's not freak out at every candle up or down, because like I said, I think the longer it stays under 9, the stronger it's going, or the higher confidence I have that it can break it. So a candle up here isn't necessarily meaning we're going to moon, and a candle down to the bottom of this isn't necessarily meaning we're going to, you know, dump back down to lows. Like, there's nothing telling me since the 3rd, honestly since the start of 2020, there's nothing telling me that we are going to have to put in a lower low here. You know, we have this lowest parabolic line in 2018, real chilling up real slow at like 5K. That's probably why people are talking about 5K. But an important difference is right here. Is on the 25th rally here, we had that lower low. You know, we went sideways and took a lower low. Is very weird for a market to hit that lower low and then rally like that. There's a Bitcoin. But what's different now is we made this reversal pattern, and we did not end it with a lower low. We ended it with a higher low, which also happens to be what MA is this? 600 daily, so the 106 day. Bam. If you look at it on a 6 day, it looks pretty good. That'd be the difference for me here, is this lower low is not a bullish sign. I mean, even when you get a rally, it's not a bullish sign to put in a lower low and then go. You want to build this strong base of support with a higher low, and that's what we did. So this is much more convincing to me. This is a much more confident rally, and the fact that people, I think sentiment is still not confident, I think that just adds value to it. Everyone was confident here. No one's confident here yet, candle wise, 16%, 21%, even though like our solid candle closes here are better. So this is very interesting. I don't think that this is going to happen. That is just not very likely. It's very likely that we do maybe something like this, like I was showing. Could even be at the 9,000. As long as we can keep this pattern upside down, or Dick. As long as we can keep that pattern, everything's pretty good. If we are truly here continuing our bullish, run from 2018, then I suspect this path up is going to have many like points of doubt. Market makers do not want people riding Bitcoin up for free. So they are going to keep people skeptical, keep people not confident in it, give us every reason probably to be afraid, except for prices should continue to move up then. So whatever they can do outside of that to create doubt is probably what they're going to do. Yeah, something important I wanted to talk about is another difference between October 25th. But this one I'm not as confident as a good signal necessarily, because this is not typically what I'm used to. Is we saw a great alt rally here. Really, alts have been mooning. Like Bitcoin Gold, bam, 160% off its low. ZEC, Zcash like 70. I guess this is the low. 75% off its low. I mean, pretty much every alt that you can name. Go mana. Pretty much every alt you can name is seeing significant gains. Dash, bat pulled up a little bit. Looks like it's following this 50 hourly pretty well, but we did not see that in October, and we are seeing it now. I wish I could say that made me extra bullish, but it doesn't, because that is not very typical for me in my experience in Bitcoin and crypto. Usually when Bitcoin rallies really hard, alts drain out. People are taking profit into Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going up and their alts aren't going up, so they want to get into Bitcoin. We're seeing the opposite here. That's a little confusing to me. I guess it could be explained because we really haven't broken we haven't hit a higher high of like real confidence, say like breaking 10.6 would be. Around that area, I would guess maybe alts are going to sell off pretty hard. But damn, total market cap is being a beast. Holy. Total market cap just got rejected by the 200 daily. total market cap looks more bullish than Bitcoin at this point, and I think that is very bullish. Total market cap did follow on the 25th with the rally. However, I bet if we look at dominance, I bet dominance also flew up. Yep, but dominance also flew up. Okay, here, this is a great example. I'm glad I pointed this out. So we see dominance go up on the 25th during the October rally with price, and now we're actually seeing the opposite. So we saw total market cap rally. Let's make that smaller. From the 6th, yep. But now we're seeing total market cap rally and dominance fall. So that definitely explains, why alts are seeing gains, because market cap dominance is going down. But it doesn't tell us the reason that is, this is happening. And typically for Bitcoin, we see the opposite. So it's just a very interesting point. Maybe that goes along with what I was saying about market makers are going to try to confuse us and keep us uncomfortable, especially if they plan on continuing to rally Bitcoin's price, because that's very odd. You can even just visually see here that this is a kind of weird move. What pattern is this? Like maybe like a double top-ish descending wedge? I do not know. But that is not very usual. So something's up. Something is definitely happening here that is different from the rallies we've seen recently. If only we had all the information, that'd be great. All the answers. I think a lot of people will explain this away by BSV and Craig Wright saying that this started the rally. That may be true. It may have. With all that's going on with him, I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but everything going on with him, it would logically make sense to me that he wants his coin to rally and look strong. He's making some claims that, as far as I've seen, haven't really been backed up totally. And what's a better way to convince people that you are, or you are whatever you say you are, than your coin mooning? I think that could be related. This certainly there's lots of money in market cap moving. It would be odd to me to think that it is solely that. That would take probably more money than everyone who invests in this coin has put together. But really what it could be is this was a bit of a fabricated rally, and pretty much all the other altcoins have been suppressed for so long that they saw markets breaking out and followed suit. That does really kind of seem logical. Dominance started dropping, so coins started pumping their Bitcoin pairs. I think that's pretty good for the day. It has been definitely a fun day a fun few days to check your portfolios and see them going up. I think it's reasonable to expect some kind of retracing, especially on coins that went huge percents. But eventually we will get back into that swing that we saw in 2017, where you just see back-to-back days of the same thing, of coins being up 20, 30, 40% back-to-back-to-back, and all of a sudden they're up hundreds of percents. So my advice would be, like I said the other day when everything was mooning, don't chase pumps. Nothing goes up forever. Things may go up forever long term, but nothing goes up forever short term. There's always going to be a pullback. If you are buying a huge 100-something% pump that day, man, you are almost certainly buying the top. because the majority of the real pumping is done very, very quickly, and then price is essentially allowed to just float there up at the top to try to trap buyers. I think a really strong strategy for the short term here is if we see that dominance continues to drop and market cap continues to rise, I think a strong strategy would be look to coins that have not yet followed suit. I hate to say it because I'm not a fan, but one of those coins that's recognizable that I was looking at this morning, XRP, Ripple. Not a fan of Ripple, but Ripple has not really moved throughout this. If I guarantee if Bitcoin dominance continues to drop and total market cap continues to rise, almost every coin is going to see gains. And the ones that have not seen gains yet are likely to follow suit. They're likely to do the same thing. It's just kind of how it seems to work. They're all going to put in different gains percent-wise. Which ones you want to play with are up to you. Nobody really knows what's going to outgain the others. People love to speculate and think they know, but they really don't. You guys know my personal strategy is I like coins that have retraced the most from their all-time high. The more I see it as, the more they've come down from their all-time high, the more space up they have to move freely. Certainly, coins will break their all-time highs. Some of them, or all of them, or who knows. Definitely some. So it's not as if an all-time high is a ceiling. It is certainly not a guarantee either. But when a coin has gone from $1,000 to $20 or something, there is a lot of potential there. So it's something to look out for. That was not an endorsement of XRP. There's many coins that haven't run, but that's just one that I noticed. I can pull it up for you guys, but that's one that I noticed that has not really put in any gains here. There we go. And that's unusual. XRP does tend to pump with Bitcoin. Personally, I think that's just done because the supply is owned by everybody, or by a few people, and they time it so it looks attractive. But it's look at this. This is its low for the last few years. It was lower than that back in December 15th. Yeah, I thought that was farther ago. That's because this is Binance crap. It was lower than this. Well, anyway, has not broken that historic low, and the low that it put in, like the yearish 12-month low here down at 2330, it's respected that so far, and any higher low here is likely going to set it up for some serious gains. Certainly 3,700 sats isn't unreasonable, especially if this is a lower or a higher low here being put in, and it's right very, very close to this newer trend line here, or you call this a neckline depending on how you want to look at it. So look for things like this would be my advice for you guys in the next few days. I don't think you need to find one right now today and buy it. Rushing is really never the right move in my opinion. I always say that, but ooh, that's interesting. I drew this channel a while ago and it really held true for a long time. Until it broke, until it broke right here. This green line went crazy. Alright. Ooh, Ethereum. Man, I have not been watching Ethereum. It has been so boring lately, but I think after this I might start looking at it. Also, XMR looking good. Ethereum, what's up with you, buddy? You've been just so boring for a while. Okay, this is actually a really similar setup, so I'm going to throw... I like Ethereum a lot more than Ripple, so I'm going to throw this into the mix. We see this very similar chart to XRP. Actually, holy crap. If you were to cut all this out, that's really similar. Anyway, we're seeing the 12-month low down here at 0.16. Some rally getting rejected by this trend line that's actually really very close to when. Yeah, that's weird. That is strange to me that XRP and ETH look similar. That's not something I've ever noticed. So rejection off of this neckline, and Ethereum's just poking out of it now. Some pretty nasty top wicks, but also some pretty strong bottom wicks here. Yeah, MACD's approaching 0. That's cool. Little inverse head and shoulders pattern there. Ethereum could be setting up for some gains. If we see a breakout, I would expect probably 22% minimum on a breakout here. I would see it coming back to this local high and either going nuts or doing something super lame like this, making this M and then go up. Yeah, so this is the pattern I'm looking for. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm looking for alts doing this, avoiding piercing their 12-month low and then showing a little strength, and ideally coming up and breaking these necklines. This actually looks like it might be a little off. Yes, it is. Bam! Haha! I knew it. Got the trader's eye there, man. Making it even more dubious. Kind of lost us that 2%. What the heck? There we go. I would not personally take this trade. I would wait. But this is a potential here. Solid 10-to-1 risk reward. If I bring this down a little. 2.5 to 22. Cool. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not taking this trade. I already have Ethereum. I've already bought Ethereum in this range. I haven't bought any recently, but I bought it down here before. I'm not interested in picking up any more. I already have pretty good allocation to it. So, this is what we're looking for. You know, low, higher low, and then break this neckline. That's how I would be hunting for altcoins right now. I would not be hunting for altcoins this way and saying, because I mean, I love Bitcoin Gold. Well, I don't love it, but I was telling people to like look at Bitcoin Gold in this area. I guess that was a month-ish ago. So it was a little high. Saw about 10% down from there. But now this has yielded some nasty gains. This is not what I would be looking for, especially not with this huge wick. 46% wick, that's pretty gnarly. Will this put in more gains? Probably. But at this point, you're buying at such a premium. You know, the last time it was this price was in August of last year, 6 months ago. If you didn't want this coin, you know, in any of this range, why do you want it here? I think that's a good question to ask yourself. What makes you want it? Because I hear a lot of people talking about, say, Dash as well as doing this. You know, a few coins that are really going nuts, and they're saying, what about Dash? What about Bitcoin Gold? What about BSV? And my answer is, if you weren't interested in it, you know, a week ago, when it was 62% down, what is the reason you're interested in it now? And you need to ask yourself that question, and you need to be honest with yourself what the answer is, because the only possible answer I can tell you is that you're being emotional and you're gripped in FOMO. Really, I mean, what other answer would there be? Maybe this is just made up. Like, what it Dash had an upgrade, and it's the newest, coolest upgrade ever, and that was like yesterday, and it pumped a bunch. I mean, at least there's a reason there outside of you saw gains and now you feel like you're missing out, so you're gonna buy them. Because they're off their low, this is still possible. Maybe you buy this and it goes up, or long term it goes up, but like, dude, this is not unique to Dash. This is not unique to Bitcoin Gold. This is not unique to Bitcoin or Bitcoin SV. Like, pretty much every coin at some point is going to do that. Some way more than others. Very few may not ever see a move like that, but in my experience, dude, they always do. Yeah, it's like just a matter of time. So I would say hunt for good deals. Don't hunt for pumps. Or don't hunt pumps that have already happened. Yeah. China gonna dump, bro. Why do people always think China is like... Dude, China like is just like us. They're just people buying Bitcoin. Like, why do people think China's like our enemy in Bitcoin, dude? The Bitcoin doesn't have fucking borders. They don't have borders. Or it doesn't have borders. Everyone who is investing in Bitcoin is on the same team, whether they're from China or Iran or South America or Alaska or whatever. Like, we're all on the same team. China investors are not trying to wreck Bitcoin to wreck us or something. That's just paranoia. Paranoia. So yeah. Anything else that I forgot? Not that I can think of. So yep, I guess that's a pretty good breakdown for the day. Summarize, we're watching this channel. If this channel breaks, you know, other than these little punctures down here, if this channel breaks significantly, I think that may be the time to start thinking differently, or at least give a case to think differently. But as long as it's in this channel, we are trending parabolically up. You know, moving down 5%, 6%, you know, whatever here, like that does not mean that we're putting in a new low. You know, like, I know we're all low crazy from the last few months, and that's like all we know, and the market has trained us now to be searching for lows over and over and over again. But, you know, I always have to say there are no guarantees, but this is a reversal pattern. Like, this is the ideal reversal pattern, man. Like, that low, lower low, higher low. Like, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Yeah, that is what we're looking for. And now we're going to try to see if that plays out on an even larger, more macro scale with what I was showing you guys about the weekly earlier. So try to keep the big picture in mind. We have some pretty tight parameters here to kind of help us decide if that big picture is incorrect, because of course it could be. Bitcoin loves painting fake outs, but really, I don't know if this is gonna break. If it does break, my next look is at this red line. Well, I guess this green line, because we haven't back tested it yet, which is unusual. But this red line was touched twice since it was made in 2018, and it's right here. Bam, bam. Price did not enjoy being underneath it. If we make it back to this line, I would hope we see the similar. I am skeptical if that's actually going to happen at this point. But you can also see, to make you guys a little more comfortable, is that red line, man, that's moving up, you know, like that red line brings us, let's see, actually, when does the red line bring us to 20? So far away. Okay. Today's the 15th. Okay, well, the red line brings us to 14K in about a year. That's miserable to see. Let's see it on the daily. Brings us to 20 in 500 days. Like, this red line, if it gets respected, is a good thing to follow. Like, that is good. That means we're trending up. I have my doubts that that red line will break anytime soon. Let's see, when does it break 50K? That I'm curious about. $884 days. Okay. Yeah, I'm just messing around here, so I'm gonna get off and finish this because that's not exciting for you guys. So that's about it. Thank you guys for watching and listening to me ramble, and we'll see what happens today. Keep your eyes on this curvature. You know, this could easily play out differently. We could easily see the same kind of rounding go the other way. You know, that's totally in the picture. And I think what makes a good trader is to be able to identify emerging patterns before they're really clear, and then on that other side of the coin, be able to drop those patterns when you see they don't work and not hold on to them and say, no, this has to be it, I can't be wrong. Well, we can all be wrong. So I'm gonna make this thinner so it's a little more precise. There we go. All right, I'll be around, guys. Love y'all, fam, and feel free to ask me questions and stuff afterwards, after this is uploaded. It'll take a little bit.